Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up, the podcast where we sift through the legislative noise to find the signal. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. Today we have a significant slate of legislation from the 119th Congress to unpack, ranging from how the government handles artificial intelligence to the geopolitical chessboard in the Pacific, plus a stack of executive nominations that will shape federal agencies for years to come.
Let's start with the technology and modernization front. We're seeing a cluster of bills focused on bringing the federal government and the economy into the mid-21st century. First up is House Resolution 1665, the Digital Applications Act.
This is really about user experience, Victor. For decades, interacting with government websites has been, let's be polite and say, friction-heavy. This bill aims to modernize how agencies accept applications, essentially mandating digital options. It's a direct descendant of the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1980, but finally acknowledging that a PDF you have to print and scan isn't truly digital.
Right. And alongside that, we have House Resolution 2600 and Senate Bill 1437, both titled the Ascend Act. While the text often deals with aerospace and career development in engineering, the fact that we have companion bills in both chambers suggests high priority. But the one catching my eye for the private sector is House Resolution 3679, the Small Business Artificial Intelligence Advancement Act.
This is crucial. We talk a lot about big tech regulating AI, but House Resolution 3679 is about capacity building. It directs the Small Business Administration to provide resources so that local businesses aren't left behind by the AI revolution. It's an equity issue, making sure the hardware store or the local accountant can utilize the same efficiencies as a Fortune 500 company.
Moving from the digital landscape to the physical one, there is a fascinating tug-of-war happening regarding environmental policy and resource management. We have three distinct bills focusing on coastlines: House Resolution 1874 regarding the Coastal Zone Management Act, House Resolution 2786, the Resilient Coasts and Estuaries Act, and House Resolution 2990, the Coastal State Climate Preparedness Act.
These three really need to be viewed as a package. They are updating frameworks established in the early 1970s. House Resolution 1874 is interesting. It establishes a conclusive presumption that a state concurs with certain activities if they don't object in time. That sounds technical, but it's about speeding up permitting for offshore projects, whether that's wind energy or dredging. Meanwhile, 2786 and 2990 are the defensive plays, funding states to prepare for rising sea levels and stronger storms.
But then, Lenny, look at House Resolution 4835, the Strategic Resource Non-Discrimination Act. This is the counterweight.
Exactly. This bill essentially tries to prevent financial institutions or federal agencies from discriminating against industries involved in traditional energy or mining. It's a pushback against the ESG, environmental, social, and governance investing trends. So Congress is saying protect the coasts on one hand, but don't strangle the resource industries on the other.
Let's pivot to foreign policy. The House has introduced House Resolution 3452, the Six Assurances to Taiwan Act. For listeners who might not know, the Six Assurances date back to 1982 under President Reagan. They are key foreign policy principles stating, among other things, that the U.S. will not set a date for ending arms sales to Taiwan and won't pressure Taiwan to negotiate with China.
Codifying this now in 2026 sends a very specific signal to Beijing. It moves these assurances from diplomatic tradition to statutory weight. We also see Senate Bill 1780, the Mexico Security Assistance Accountability Act, and House Resolution 390, the ACERO Act. These suggest a tightening of the leash regarding aid to our southern neighbor, likely demanding more concrete results in the fight against cartels before funds are released.
And we can't skip Senate Bill 2342, the Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 2026. These pass annually, but they are the primary oversight mechanism for the CIA and NSA. It usually dictates where the intelligence community needs to focus its gaze, likely cyber warfare and biosecurity given recent trends.
On the domestic front, I want to highlight House Resolution 3299, the Restroom Access Act of 2025. This is often called Alley's Law in state legislatures. It usually requires businesses to allow people with medical conditions like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis access to employee-only restrooms if no public one is available. It's a massive quality of life issue for millions of Americans.
It really is. Now, for the budget nerds, and I know you're out there, we have House Resolution 143, the Unauthorized Spending Accountability Act. Lenny, can you explain the concept of a zombie program to our listeners?
I'd love to. In Congress, you are supposed to have two steps: authorization, creating the program, and appropriation, funding it. But for decades, Congress has just kept appropriating money to programs whose legal authorization expired years ago. We call those zombie programs. House Resolution 143 attempts to force Congress to actually review and reauthorize these agencies or sunset them, rather than just cutting checks on autopilot.
Shifting gears to personnel, the Senate has received a heavy list of nominations. The headlines here are focused on the National Park Service. Scott Socha of New York has been nominated to be the director.
That is a high-visibility role, managing 400-plus sites and a massive maintenance backlog. We also see Christopher T. Hansen being reappointed to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. With the push for small modular reactors and nuclear energy as a clean power source, the NRC is going to be the bottleneck or the enabler, so his continuity there matters.
In the diplomatic corps, we have William Long nominated for ambassador to Iceland and Robert Sweeney for the Asian Development Bank. But look at the Federal Election Commission. Ashley Stowe of Texas has been nominated to replace James Traynor.
The FEC is comprised of 6 members, split evenly between parties. Replacing a commissioner is critical because they require 4 votes to take any enforcement action. If a seat sits empty, the agency often deadlocks and can't enforce campaign finance laws. Getting Stowe confirmed before the midterms ramp up is likely a priority for leadership.
Finally, we've looked through the congressional daily records for mid-February 2026, specifically volumes 172, numbers 33 through 34.
These records cover the dates from February 12th through the 20th. Reading through the PDFs, you'll notice a lot of extension of remarks. This is a procedural quirk where members can insert speeches into the official record that they didn't actually deliver on the floor. It allows them to advocate for those bills we mentioned, like the Coastal State Climate Preparedness Act, without consuming floor time.
It's also where you see the pro forma sessions documented. Even when Congress appears to be on a state work period, they briefly gavel in and out, sometimes for just minutes, to prevent the president from making recess appointments. That's exactly what we see in volume 172, number 34.
So, what should you watch for in the coming days? Watch the committee schedules for House Resolution 4835, that Strategic Resources Bill. If that moves to the floor, expect a heated debate on energy independence versus climate goals. And keep an eye on the Senate confirmation hearings for Scott Socha at the National Park Service. That hearing will likely turn into a broader debate about public land use. That's all for this edition of Capital Catch-Up. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next time the gavel drops.